Many people think that the best way to escape war.
This is the playback from Arrow Podcast Network and Red Hawk Radio Theater.
Welcome, everybody, to the playback. We're here today. I'm Clayton Hester. We've got Satyajit Sarkar with us, and we've got Margot MacArthur with us as well. Hi, guys. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. How about you, Clayton?
Doing pretty good. How about you, Margot?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. We're all doing pretty good.
I was waiting for a cue. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Pretty good's all right. Pretty good's all right.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we've got Margot here, and we've got it so that we're gonna jump into the waters a little bit more now. We had our introduction last episode, and after kind of reaching out to everybody, we had a lot of positive feedback, and it was really great. And it was really just great to be able to work in that way, because with podcasting, you are supposed to be able to have your topic really well set. And as somebody that's done this a little while, I've kind of done with that. I've kind of done that, but I haven't really found a niche in the same way that audio dramas are. But because in this way, it's a community of producers and listeners, and although you can get a lot of range with your audio drama, it's not necessarily something that I would, right now consider mainstream per se. And so when we reach out with a show about talking about audio dramas, it's like, this is something good. It's something we, it kind of takes that next step of also then reflecting on something that exists and, kind of cultivating it. And so, I think that's something to talk about too. What do you guys think about, basically the niche of the audio drama? It may not be mainstream per se, but it's really a thriving thing still.
It is in somewhat of a way. And the question is, how can we make it not as niche and more mainstream? And that's honestly just depending on the project. I mean, if you've got a very specific genre you want to reach out to, it's probably going to end up being niche. But if you want it to be just comedy or drama or some other horror or whatever, there might have to be elements within your show that could reach out to different people, such as satirical jokes, or that's the only thing I could think of. But that's basically my input.
A conversation about satire beforehand, I guess. Sticking with you. That's a good point. That's a good point as well. And it seems like we're reaching more people all the time and reaching different folks.
We're doing something right.
Yeah, exactly. With audio dramas, it's a diverse and dynamic thing. Recently, I discovered a new one, and I can probably talk about this more with the conversation actually coming up about the specifics of what we've been listening to. But I listened to The World to Come, which is a musical, a post-apocalyptic musical, which is you can see so much crossover in genres and stuff, and I love that about it. But anyway, usually I listen to everything on 2-speed because save time and whatnot.
Same here.
But it's you can't do that with musicals. that is not a thing that you can feasibly do. Otherwise, things get it's not the best listening experience, to listen to sped up songs and whatnot. But it's 2-speed. Yeah, you can adjust because of the speed adjustments.
That's what you meant. I thought
it's all the songs are going to
broadcast.
It's just you can't get the story.
That did bring up another good point.
Thoughts on the niche of audio dramas and how it is a thriving thing, but also still a pretty much a pretty tight-knit community.
I think saying that it's a niche market is sort of undermining the efforts of a lot of people in this community.
Well, when I say niche isn't necessarily meaning small. It's in terms of something being a niche, it is something that is specifically fine tuned. And with regards to the fact that the internet is fragmenting culture as is, It really comes as no surprise then that things that arise naturally like out of the internet aren't going to catch on in every major way.
I think,
except for like bardcore, when they redo songs in the style of like medieval music, that's gold. It needs to become like a mainstream thing. Hang on forever. Anyway, go ahead.
I think now it's, if you have a unique idea and you have the means of producing your own content and you can get it out there, it's mainly about the avenues that you can reach and the people that you can reach out to. If you have something that's a certain type of product that you're putting out, and you know that it's going to attract a certain type of audience, then the amount, somewhere you can guesstimate as to how much listenership you can gather, and from that you can expand on your models and see how you can reach out to more. With podcasts, I wouldn't say that the market is oversaturated, but with so many podcasts out there, it is tough to break into the scene with whatever type of product you have, because if you look out into the space of the World Wide Web, you'll find something that's either A, very close to what you're doing, or B, exactly what you're doing. So just breaking in to put your voice out there is the tough aspect of podcasting. Now, going back to your question of the aspect of what is it? The niche?
Yeah, the niche.
If you want a strong base of listeners that are loyal and that are going to come back to you no matter, how far spread your shows are, or, you want to pick something that is tuned in and that you have a certain style of shows or podcasts that people know you for. So I think the important thing is finding a voice and then going with it. Not to say that you can't branch out to do other things if you feel like, changing up the pace of things. But you have to lure some sort of an audience in order to get to the place where you can introduce new things.
Yeah.
And
no offense with regards to police procedurals and anything like that, because I know they're very popular and they're good things still. But I mean, in terms of the widest net, that philosophy and that which we've kind of become most kind of familiar with in terms of broadcast TV, things that kind of diverge from the norm in terms. Well, first of all, there's 1,000 police procedurals in the world. Secondly, like the thing that really like gets kind of like out there and maybe sci-fi ideas or fantasy ideas into a setting that is more basically to catch more of the people in the widest net is usually some sort of innovation on that, things like that. A few years back there were different shows like let's take the idea of a police procedural set in the future, things like that, or something like what if we did ultimately there are also basically 50,000 different types of police consultants. There's like the police consultant that is a murder writer, so he's an expert on murder. There's the police consultant that's like like he's got OCD or something like that. And he's very meticulous.
Discount Sherlock.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I say any police consultant show is a Discount Sherlock. I'm just gonna cap it at that, because no, honestly, if you if you look at any other TV show that's not Sherlock and you place Sherlock in it, you'll see that it adds up. Because they walk into a crime scene, right? This police consultant walks into a crime scene, does the whole shtick of, you don't tell me what to do, I have my own process, and kind of licks the floor or something and says, I know who the killer is. And they just walk out. And the police do nothing to help. You know, it's just same thing over and over. But sorry, I'm gonna step off my soapbox.
No, it's you know, and one of the recent ones has been like this police guy is like the son of a serial killer, so it's like we kind of work with him a
prodigal
little bit,
son,
so that, you know,
prodigal son.
Yep, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You know, and then you've got things like I think the procedural as well is kind of a good tool to address kind of out there things like X-Files, Fringe. Fringe was definitely the better, like the underrated yet better cousin of the X-Files.
Really?
Yes.
What could be better than the X-Files?
A show that actually, like, this is going to be scathing, but a show that, like, starts a plot and then finishes it.
Wow.
Okay, I'll have to agree with you there. There are plenty of X-Files episodes where it's just like, okay, we have this, like, monster creature we're going to investigate, and we see it. And then that's the end of the episode. And I get so mad because I'm like, I want to learn more about that. What happens to them?
Yeah.
Are we going to, like, solve a mystery?
Yeah.
No. No.
And then bringing the show back, it kind of went to like Retcon City, where it was just like everything, like things got undone, you know, and maybe some of the things that we did last time were like just a dream, you know, maybe. So...
Maybe. We'll see.
Hey, it's all in your mind.
Will it appear
Everything
in a
within
future
your mind.
episode?
But no, Fringe, in some aspects, it was a little bit contrived towards the end, but just to make things happen. But it did also do a lot of interesting things in innovating on its storyline, and which you just don't usually see, and it mostly wrapped up. But no spoilers really there, but spoilers I guess also in the general texture.
Don't spoil it.
Yeah, no, it's good. I wouldn't spoil it. I
wasn't gonna watch it anyway, but
but you should. You should. I say all this, of course, the procedural thing, to compare it to the audio drama world, because on the one hand, you've got your procedural that is an audio drama, and it becomes a good way to kind of couch things, because there are like speculative fiction audio dramas in this world, and I think Limetown is one of them. I haven't listened to that one, but I know it's very popular and it's being picked up to be adapted somewhere by somebody. Should have done my homework.
Wow, that's very
specific
there.
Yeah, you know, it is what it is. And then as far as
Clayton.
Yeah,
I know that they're doing something with that show.
They're adapting it.
I know that it is going somewhere.
I know that they're adapting it. I just don't know who. I mean, one of the million different streaming services. It's probably Amazon, because Amazon has been the one that takes those. I think it is Amazon. As far
someone is doing something somewhere.
That is. I mean, that's my job as a journalist.
It's
like somebody somewhere it's filling in the blanks.
Somehow.
Who, what, when, where, why, how. That's
somebody get Clayton discount Sherlock in here, please.
Discount
to figure out what he needs.
And then on the other hand, there are the people that don't, play by the same rules of what established TV generally has been or is thought to be required to be. Something more mundane that can basically rope in everybody. No, we can go towards those all the nooks and crannies of sci-fi and fantasy and things like that. It might start out with something more familiar that can then kind of branch out into different areas. But ultimately, shaking up the paradigm has kind of been the thing about it, because genre is such an interesting thing to look at in terms of what you can do and how you can play around with that. Yeah. And, and I find myself referencing TV tropes a lot. I don't know if you know that website, but they have a podcast of their own as well. But ultimately, it tries to break down all of the things that play out and kind of that, a trope isn't necessarily a cliche, but it could be. But ultimately, it's kind of
Yeah.
the building blocks of narrative, and so they try to map all those out.
Let me just for the listeners out there, a TV trope is basically narrative devices that have been running in stories for a long time. If you pick
what
up
I
an
said,
episode
right?
of a TV show, what?
That's what I said,
I
right?
don't even know if you defined
No, I'm just
trope.
defining
Did you?
like broadly
Maybe.
for the listener. It's
Okay.
just if you pick up a TV show episode and you're watching it for the first time, and if you can pick out a storyline and you describe it plot to plot, like plot detail to plot detail, and be like, oh yeah, that's going to be a bad guy. Well, that those are the tropes that you can pick up and get. It kind of hooks you into the shows, so you know what you can expect, but also they deviate from it so that you don't find it to be stale. That's the good TV shows. The bad ones kind of follow the tropes and just don't deviate or confound expectations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, you get that as well with regards to, oh yeah, I remember what it was. The TV trope of recycled in space. It's like this thing is something normal and earthbound, but now we're gonna put it in space, and it's one of my favorites. But also, it's like, perhaps you have heard of Starshire Rim.
May have. If you haven't, go listen now.
You need to listen now. Starshire Rim, a space western from yours truly. But yeah, so that's a thing that gets applied a lot across the board, and so you get a lot of interesting intersections between like the space western genre exists for this reason, but as do things like Treasure Planet from
Mhm.
yeah.
Love Treasure
It's so
Planet.
great, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been so long since I've seen it, though.
It is. It's been a while. Well, actually, it hasn't been a while, but it's been actually, it was a long time since the time I first saw it, and then I watched it again recently. But the point being,
I want to say it came out when I was born.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it has been out a while.
2002.
It's that Disney.
You were born in 2002?
Yeah, I was born in May 2002.
Wow.
I'm young.
Young.
I
Wow,
know.
I feel old.
Oh,
And I bet Clayton feels even older.
Why would I? I mean, only a brisk 2,000 years old here. But anyway,
I'm catching up. From 1800.
Oh gosh, yeah. So that itself creates so many different genres within itself, and so those get to be at play in terms of what comes about today, and it plays into the same thing I was talking about a while ago with regards to experimental forms of post-apocalyptic musicals. Like that's a thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that's wild, but it's also like really okay. And we've we've had some shows recommended to us lately, and it's like a madcap genre that was popular last century, but they're experimenting with it now and kind of like twisting it around and messing around with it. It's like, and this is a new thing that they're able to produce, and so that's interesting. Yeah, Sati.
Mm-hmm. I was just gonna say, putting that into an audio format must have been painful because you have to be able to create a show. Well, writing a show for audio is the worst. I think coming from you and I would know because we're writers as well. But writing a musical for audio, it's tough because you don't have the visuals. You know me, I'm the visuals guy because last episode, if you remember, I went on a whole tirade on how visuals complement stories, but the imagination aspect of an audio format kind of is heightened through just the words, and you get to picture the whole show in your own mind. And every listener's experience is going to be their own with any kind of show, but with a musical, it's to create that image, it's tough.
Mhm.
It's tough in a musical. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
Because whenever I listen to, I don't know, a soundtrack of a musical, I don't necessarily imagine what's going on stage.
Right.
But that's just the way that I work.
Yeah, no,
You know?
it is kind of that, and you would expect that as well. As far as just the performative aspect of it, it's like, you know, like if the Sound of Music or something were like all
Yeah.
audio
that
drama.
would be all over the place.
That would
if
be
it was
interesting.
audio.
But like, in some measure, I still see it. I think that it could be done in a way that you would still be able to imagine, like the the hills and the flowing green hills and everything of
Mhm.
the Sound of Music.
Sound
And
is everything.
and so you could it would be something to experiment in. It's not impossible. It's a challenge.
Nothing's
Exactly.
impossible.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was. Yeah, exactly. It is a very tough challenge that discovering that aspect of pushing audio to that limit and
Mhm.
selling it to a wide array of audiences is a tough feat to accomplish. But it is admirable.
Mhm.
I do applaud a lot of these creators for experimenting with such like widely different genres
Mhm.
that either haven't really been received well in the past and they're trying it again, or never heard of before. Because like Dune is scary,
Mhm.
and like what if no one's gonna like it? But like the fact that you are willing to put yourself out there
Mhm.
and create this new thing, like that
Mhm.
takes guts. Man.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Also,
No, go ahead. Yeah, you're good. No, go ahead.
Also, when it comes to producing content and putting your work into it, this is going to be one of those not necessarily motivational moments of this podcast, but it's going to be you do your work and you leave it to the universe and you see where it's going to take you. And if it takes you somewhere good, then you tag it up to the hard work that the people around you put in
Mhm.
to prop your work up. And it's one of those, if nobody listens to it, all that hard work is not to waste. It just
Mhm.
made you better, you know?
Mhm.
Because I'm a strong believer in do all the work that you can do, and if somebody's going to notice you, somebody will notice you.
Mhm.
And it's just a matter of time, you know? That's all I wanted to say about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think that's pretty motivational.
Yeah. Absolutely. With a little bit of a look behind the scenes for Red Hawk Radio Theater, at least, we had a really good production in spring of 2020 with Kiss of the Dragon's Curse.
Yeah.
And after that, we had our semester. We had big plans. Starship Rim was actually planned for like May of last year, which, for Margot and, all the other cast members' sake, I know it's like that was a
Thank goodness.
good thing things got kicked down the road. But, it was like what we were able to produce got truncated. And so things got a little bit off kilter. But, still we've been able to come back and to re-engage. Gave me plenty of time over the summer to knock that out and get that done. And so now we see what it's like, kind of like adjusting according to the challenges we faced, and meeting those difficulties with how we've been able to adjust, and how we're for the most part back in person, and how we can still experiment with doing different recording techniques and the whole 9 yards on that.
I was going to say that Starship Rim being moved to this semester was kind of a blessing in disguise for
Definitely.
all of us, because we wouldn't have found the team that we have now.
Oh yeah.
At least I don't think it would have been as tight knit as it is.
Oh yeah. No.
Now with the dedication that we
I
have.
agree.
Yeah. Of course you agree, Marco. You just came in.
Putting my 2 cents
Uh,
Yeah. Well, I think that nears the end for us. I think we probably gotta leave it at that. I know we talked some about the shows that we listened to and stuff, but This ended up being a bit more of the a broader umbrella conversation about the art form of the audio drama and the challenges and whatnot too. So it's been a blast going down that rabbit hole as well.
Oh yes.
We've gone down exactly 2 rabbit holes, and both of them were your doing.
Was it? Okay. Well, I mean,
Thank you, please.
I don't know. If listeners want to go back and check, you can do that, but I do not care. I'm going to stick by my statement.
yeah, no, the audience can picture me as a little white rabbit with a dapper Victorian clothing and a pocket watch, and leading the way down the rabbit hole. Anyway, yeah, all right. Well, folks, thanks for listening again to another episode. We've got Margot MacArthur here today. We've got Satyajit Sarkar, and I am Clayton Hester, saying, keep listening, keep your ear to the ground and your earbuds in. Till next time.